Private clinics aren't built for people who move slowly. They're built for polished shoes, fast signatures, and patients who know exactly what to say at reception. Emera Duarte was none of those. She stood just inside the glass doors of the luxury medical center, clutching her worn brown purse so tightly that her knuckles turned white. Her dress was simple, ironed with care, but too plain for that gleaming lobby. Her grey hair was pulled back into a shaky bun, the way she'd done it for church her whole life. In her hands, a stack of folded, half-crumpled papers trembled more from nerves than age. The lobby looked more like a five-star hotel than a place for sick people. Marble floors, designer armchairs, a coffee machine that made drinks she'd never heard of, a giant screen playing a video about innovation, excellence, and human care. The only thing that didn't match the advertisement was the way some people looked at her, that quick up-and-down scan that says, "You don't fit here." Emera took a breath and walked slowly to the front desk. The receptionist barely glanced up, fingers still typing. "I'm here about this bill," Emera said, pushing one of the papers forward. "They sent me this charge, but I don't understand what it is, dear. I don't want to owe anyone." The receptionist sighed loud enough that people in the waiting area turned their heads. "Oh," she said, stretching the word. "We'll talk slowly, all right? Do you even know what kind of insurance you have?" A couple in expensive gym clothes smirked. Someone in a blazer looked away, embarrassed for her, not for the way she was being treated. On the second floor, behind a wide glass wall, a man in a dark suit was finishing a presentation to a group of administrators and investors. His name was Dr. Lucan Duarte, medical director and partner of the clinic. On the slides behind him, they had just shown photos of the building, the equipment, the smiling doctors. No one in that room knew that the old woman being treated like a burden downstairs was the reason he had ever owned a white coat at all. "Name?" the receptionist asked, fingers tapping the keyboard with visible impatience. "Emera Duarte," she answered, carefully unfolding the papers. "They sent me this notice and this other letter, and then this paper here. I pay every month, but I don't understand this new fee. I just wanted to know what it is so I can pay it right." The receptionist skimmed the documents the way people skim junk mail they've already decided to throw away. "This one is from the insurance," she said, tapping one page. "This one is from the lab. This one is from another unit. You're mixing everything up, ma'am." "I brought everything they gave me," Emera said quickly, as if apologizing for existing. "I thought maybe you could explain." The young woman leaned forward, elbows on the desk, voice suddenly soft and sticky, the tone adults use for toddlers. "Ma'am, do you have a son? A granddaughter? Someone younger who can come with you next time? These things are complicated for your age group." A man in designer sneakers and a branded jacket chuckled, shaking his head as if watching a sitcom. A woman in leggings and a cropped top whispered to her partner, "She probably thinks this is some public clinic. Look at how lost she is." "I can learn," Emera insisted, her voice small but steady. "Just explain it to me, please. I worked all my life. I pay my plan. I don't want trouble." The receptionist rolled her eyes so hard her head moved with them. "Look," she said, lowering her voice but not enough. "This is the premium unit. Everything here is digital, integrated. It's not for people who don't even know what plan they have. If you don't understand the basics, there's not much I can do right now. You can sit over there and wait. When I have time, and I mean if I have time, I'll see if the system shows anything." She pointed not to the comfortable armchairs near the window, but to a lonely plastic chair in the corner, right next to a metal trash bin and far from the fancy coffee machine. Then turning to a colleague beside her, she said in a voice that was supposed to be discreet but wasn't, "I swear, if these old people keep coming here without a clue, I'm going to lose it. She doesn't even look like she belongs in this lobby." Her colleague let out a small laugh. "Yeah, you can tell just by looking who's in the wrong place." The words hit Emera harder than any medical diagnosis. She shuffled toward the corner chair, clutching her purse and papers like they might protect her from the shame. She lowered herself slowly into the seat, knees protesting, eyes fixed on the floor so no one would see the shine of tears. On the wall behind the front desk, a framed photograph showed a group of doctors and executives in white coats and suits, the founding partners of the clinic. In the center, slightly taller than the others, a younger version of Lucan Duarte smiled at the camera, stethoscope around his neck. Underneath, in gold letters, Orovale Medical Center, excellence born from dedication. No one there connected his last name to hers. To them, Duarte was a name on a plaque. To Emera, it was the name she had written on school enrollment forms, with hands still smelling of cleaning chemicals. She folded her fingers over the edge of her purse and whispered to herself, "Just don't cry here. Don't make a scene. Ask, understand, pay, go home." She had no idea the scene had already begun, and that the whole clinic was about to become part of it. Upstairs, in the glass-walled conference room, a slide with charts and numbers glowed behind Dr. Lucan Duarte. He had just finished explaining the clinic's expansion of its research wing. More international patients, more partnerships, more visibility. The words innovation, quality, and human values floated beautifully on the screen. As people began to close their notebooks and pick up their phones, Lucan's own phone buzzed on the table. He glanced down. It was a message from his assistant at reception. "Dr. Duarte, your mother just arrived. She's downstairs at the front desk." He frowned slightly. He had tried to handle her bills himself, but she'd insisted, "You're always busy, Mew." "Lucan, I can go there and ask. They'll help me. That's their job, right?" Half listening to the administrative director say something about brand positioning, Lucan's gaze drifted toward the glass wall. From there, he could see part of the lobby 2 floors below. A slice of the front desk, the waiting chairs, the flow of patients. A small figure caught his eye. A woman in a simple blue dress, purse on her lap, shoulders hunched inward, like someone trying to occupy less space in the world. Even from that distance, he knew the shape of that posture. He knew those hands. He had watched those same hands scrub floors and pack his school lunches. "Mine," he whispered under his breath. Lucan watched as the receptionist gestured toward the corner chair, then rolled her eyes to her colleague. He watched the colleague laugh. He watched his mother sit down alone by the trash bin, pressing her papers down on her knees, as if trying to smooth out the humiliation. Something inside his chest tightened into a knot. The applause from moments ago, the numbers on the projections, the talk of premium care. Everything felt suddenly cheap. "I'm sorry," he said abruptly to the room. "I need to step out for a moment. Please, continue without me." He didn't wait for permission. He left the conference room, took the stairs instead of the elevator, descending fast. With each step, memories rose like old dust. His mother waiting for buses in the rain so he could go to school. His mother dozing in a plastic chair during his night shifts, just to know he arrived safely. His mother slipping a note into his pocket on his first day in medical school. "Remember where you came from, so you know why you're going." When he reached the lobby, he heard the end of a sentence from the receptionist. "This is the premium unit. If she doesn't understand anything, maybe she should go somewhere more appropriate." Lucan walked straight to the front desk. "Good morning," he said, voice calm but edged with something sharp. "I'd like to know how you're treating patients today." The receptionist didn't even look at his face. "Sir, if you're here for an appointment, you need to take a number and wait for your—" He placed his ID badge on the counter, directly in front of her. The plastic card caught the light. At the top, the logo of Orovale Medical Center. Under it, in clear letters, Dr. Lucan Duarte, Medical Director, Chief Partner. Her words died in her throat. The colleague beside her stiffened. A couple in the waiting area noticed the badge and straightened in their seats. Lucan didn't raise his voice. He didn't need to. "A few minutes ago," he said, You told an elderly woman that she doesn't fit the profile of this lobby, that this place isn't for people like her. You spoke to her slowly, like a child, not because she needed it, but because it made you feel smarter. Then you sent her to sit by the trash. The receptionist's mouth opened and closed. I didn't know she was related to you, Doctor. I swear, if I had known she was your... And that's exactly the point, he cut in. You didn't know she was my mother. You didn't know she washed floors so I could sit in that conference room upstairs. You didn't know she skipped meals so I could buy books. You didn't know anything about her, and still you decided she was worth less than everyone in this lobby. The entire waiting room was quiet now. Even the coffee machine seemed to hiss more quietly. If she had come alone, without my name on her papers, she would have left here humiliated and confused, Lucan went on. How many others have already done exactly that? He turned his head and looked at Emera. She was staring back now, eyes wide, confused and worried. Lucan? She whispered, as if she had done something wrong. You're supposed to be working upstairs. I didn't want to disturb you. He walked past the desk, ignoring the knot of shame forming on the receptionist's face, and knelt in front of his mother so their eyes were level. You are never a disturbance, he said gently. Not anywhere I am. He took her hand, then stood and faced the staff again. This time he wasn't just her son. He was the man whose signature was on their contracts. Call the floor manager, he said quietly. We're going to talk, right here. 10 minutes later, the lobby of Orovale Medical Center didn't look like a hotel anymore. It looked like a classroom where nobody wanted to be the example. Front desk attendants, nursing assistants, security guards, even a couple of doctors stood together by the reception, trying to look busy and invisible at the same time. Patients watched from the chairs, pretending to scroll on their phones while their ears leaned forward. The floor manager arrived, face tight. Dr. Duarte, if there is an issue, we can discuss it in my office. No, Lucan answered, still composed, because the disrespect didn't happen in your office. It happened right here, in front of everyone. The correction will happen here, too. He turned so his voice carried through the lobby. This clinic spends a fortune on marble, lighting, marketing, he began. We build an image of excellence, of human care. But everything we say in our advertisements is erased in 10 seconds when a staff member decides that a patient doesn't belong here because of the way they look, speak, or hold their papers. The receptionist's eyes filled with tears. I didn't mean... You meant every word you said, he interrupted gently, and that's why it matters. No one forced you to talk down to her. No one typed the words for you. It came from you. That means it can also change in you. He pointed to the gold letters on the wall, excellence in care. From today on, those words will either mean something or we take them down. He outlined what would happen next. Mandatory training. Every employee who dealt with patients, from reception to specialists, would attend training on how to treat elderly people and vulnerable patients with respect, without baby talk, without impatience. New protocol for elderly patients. Anyone over a certain age would be offered clearer explanations, written summaries if needed, and a calm space to ask questions, without being rushed, rolled eyes, or jokes about your generation. A new sign in the lobby. Lucan dictated the words himself. No one who walks in here is in the way. They are the reason this place exists. He looked at the receptionist again. You are going to apologize to my mother, he said. Not because she's my mother, but because she's a person. And after that, you're going to decide if you want to be part of a place that actually treats people with dignity. The receptionist walked, legs shaking, to where Emera sat. Her voice came out small and uneven. Mrs. Duarte, I'm deeply sorry for the way I spoke to you. I was rude. I treated you like a burden. You didn't deserve that. Emera, who had spent a lifetime being talked down to and learning how to forgive quickly just to keep going, managed a faint smile. "I just didn't want to leave here owing anything," she said softly. "Money or respect." Those words hit the room harder than Lucan's entire speech. In the weeks that followed, the changes stopped being theory. Forms were redesigned to be clearer. The front desk staff learned to explain things without sighs and sarcastic chuckles. New employees were told on their first day the story of the old lady by the trash. And the day the medical director came down from the glass room and said, "If you humiliate her, you don't work with me." Some patients noticed the difference immediately. Some never knew what had happened. They only felt that somehow this clinic treated them like more than a number. Emera had spent her entire life being too much and not enough at the same time. Too simple for fancy lobbies. Not educated enough for digital forms. Too slow for receptionists who measured worth in speed and confidence. She wiped floors in offices so her son could one day sign documents inside them. She skipped new shoes so he could buy anatomy books. She learned to live with little so he could learn in places that would never have let her pass the door. Years later, in the lobby of a clinic that carried her son's name on its documents, the world tried to shrink her into a problem in the wrong place. A nuisance. An outdated profile. What everyone forgot was that nothing truly important in that building, no MRI, no conference room, no Dr. Duarte, would exist without a woman like her quietly choosing sacrifice over comfort. Behind every title, every doctor, every director, there is often a pair of hands that washed uniforms late at night and a back that bent over sinks while someone else studied. When we speak to an old woman at a counter, she's in the way, we forget we might be spitting on the foundation of someone else's entire story. Maybe you also have a mother, grandmother, aunt, or neighbor the world treats like she's taking up space. But you know she's the reason you made it this far. Maybe you've watched someone talk to her slowly with fake patience while you fight back tears because you know how intelligent, brave, and tough she had to be just to survive. If Emera's story stirred something in you, write in the comments, "She's not in the way, she's the reason I'm here." Like this video, subscribe to Unstoppable Underrated, and share it with someone who has forgotten who made their success possible.